STEM fans, are you ready? Let's hear it for the world-class NASA STEM Stars team. From NASA centers across the country, we present Dr. Pedro Lopez.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of NASA STEM Stars. My name is Dr. Samuel Garcia Jr., and I am an education specialist at NASA Kennedy Space Center, and it is my pleasure to serve as host for this very special episode of NASA STEM Stars. For those who are joining us for the very first time, NASA STEM Stars allows students to connect firsthand with scientists, engineers, and innovators from around NASA to learn about different career pathways, opportunities, and missions. At the same time, we will refer to a STEM activity that students will be able to do at home. Throughout the interview, students are encouraged to ask questions of NASA experts and share their activities on social media using the NextGen STEM hashtag. For more information, we invite you to visit website nasa.gov/STEM. Just yesterday, NASA's Office of STEM Engagement kicked off the new school year with Join Artemis Week, which runs through September 18th. With resources and opportunities to inspire and engage students of all ages in the future of space exploration. NASA's Artemis program will land the first woman and the next man on the moon by 2024, using innovative technologies to explore more of the lunar surface than ever before, and every student is a part of the Artemis generation. Today's mission plan will be our STEM, of course, to meet our STEM star, explore a career in STEM, ask questions of our subject matter expert, learn a little bit about your mission, and learn about who's next on NASA STEM Stars. Also, remember, if you have questions, please ask us in the chat box, or if you have other things that you'd like to learn, information, please, we encourage you to write those in the chat box as well for our very special guest, which we welcome Dr. Pedro Lopez to this very important episode of NASA STEM Stars, who will tell us a little bit about his educational experiences, his pathway to NASA, and the importance of humans returning to the moon, and how Artemis 1 will help us take us there. Dr. Lopez, welcome very much to NASA STEM Stars.
Thank you very much, Dr. Garcia, and thank you for the invitation. I'm looking forward to just sharing my career path and what we're working on to just make it possible to go back to return to the moon. So and just interacting with students around the world. So that's just one of the highlights, I guess, of working at NASA and being able to just share my experience and what it's been to get here. So thanks again.
No, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. So we'll just begin with you telling us a little bit about yourself, some background, some of your hobbies, so that way our viewers get to know who Dr. Pedro Lopez is.
Okay, so first of all, so I was actually born in Mexico. I guess I'll give a little more information on that or more details. I studied mechanical engineering, and that's kind of like what allowed me to work at NASA. And in terms of hobbies, I really there's three main things that I enjoy. The very first, or I guess the one thing that I do enjoy the most is just spending time with my family and going to my kids' activities. My two oldest kids, my son and my daughter Eileen, they both play soccer, and so just going to their soccer games. My youngest Alexa dances, and so just going to her dance recitals and things like that. And then aside from that, playing soccer whenever I get a chance, and then just participating in outreach events just like this one. I really enjoy talking to our future engineers and scientists, and the people that actually are going to make it possible, not just to continue exploring the moon, but also reaching Mars.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing a little bit about yourself. It's important just to communicate to the young people that NASA professionals such as yourself have are everyday people. They enjoy, things that every other people usually like to enjoy and participate in activities, and they are very down-to-earth individuals as well. So just like you mentioned, you have great hobbies, and that you participate in, and so do our students. So they get to, learn a little bit about, engineers have, share some of the activities that I like to engage in. So that's wonderful for our students to hear that. So thank you very much for sharing that. We're interested in learning about your career path and your journey to NASA. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are today?
Okay, so I guess so where I started. So as I mentioned, I was born in Mexico, a very small town close to Monterrey. It's called Montemorelos. Soon after, I guess I was in middle school or so. We moved to South Texas, what's called the Rio Grande Valley, and we lived in Donna, Texas. I graduated from Donna High School back in 1995. I did graduate as a valedictorian. Then from there, I still in South Texas. I attended college at the University of Texas Pan American. I got both my bachelor's and master's of science in mechanical engineering there. First one in 2000, and then the second one in 2003. Towards the 2003, that's when I moved to Houston, and I started working for different aerospace companies until I finally made it to NASA. During that time, I started attending school at Rice University so that I could pursue my PhD, also in mechanical engineering. And I was able to graduate in 2014. At the time, I was already here at NASA, and so that was a great experience. And then I guess on the next chart that I have is throughout the being an engineer, that's basically how I was able to reach my goal of working first for Boeing, then from Boeing being able to transfer to NASA, and within NASA I worked on different projects. The very first project that I worked on was actually I missed it in my chart. I worked on the International Space Station for a couple of years. And then right after the Columbia accident, I joined the shuttle program team, and I worked in the shuttle program until it retired in 2011. From there, I transferred to another team that was working on different concepts for future missions, exploration missions, going to the moon, going and exploring an asteroid, things like that. And those conceptual studies basically became what the information that was used to come up with what is now called Gateway. After working on those concepts, I moved on to work on the ESD, which is more focused on what we're going to be focusing, I guess, today, our talk, and on Artemis, and again returning to the moon. I worked on Artemis for about 3 years until about summer of this year, and just recently I transferred to commercial crew program, and I am currently working as the deputy certification manager for the Boeing contract. So it's been a blast. It's so far it's been an incredible journey.
Wow. Thank you very much for sharing that. And just a quick side note to our viewers and those that are watching us. I grew up in the same place as Dr. Lopez, or in the Rio Grande Valley here, a town a few miles away from Donna, Mercedes. So we have that connection, and I too attended University of Texas Pan American, so this is home for me as well. So it's awesome to have the connection with you, Dr. Lopez. Can you tell us a little bit about your current work as a deputy certification manager at NASA?
Sure. So as part of the commercial crew program, we are working with commercial partners, of course. One of them is Boeing. The other one is SpaceX. I work on the Boeing side of the program. And so my job is basically to work with Boeing as they are building the what is the capsule that's going to be used to launch astronauts to ISS. Make sure that capsule, which is the CST-100, meets all of the requirements and meets all those requirements on a timely schedule, I guess, or whenever it's required. Also, the other thing that's part of that program is, of course, the rocket that's going to launch the capsule, and that's ULA's Atlas rocket. Making sure that that rocket is also rated or human rated, basically meets all the requirements so that a human can actually be launched on it. So that's in a nutshell what I do. It's a lot of integration, a lot of working with many people across the country, making sure that everything that needs to be done is being done in the right way.
Perfect. Thank you very much for sharing that. It's always great for our students to learn a little bit about the different roles, because sometimes they do hear the word engineer, but then there are all these different branches into and roles and responsibilities. And this is just one particular slice of this broader umbrella, which is falls under engineering. So thank you very much for sharing that and highlighting this very important work that you're doing. So for many of us, especially for younger students, Dr. Lopez, they're interested into what engineers do, what a deputy certification manager does at NASA. So what does your day-to-day work life look like at NASA?
So at this point, it's extremely busy. So Boeing is getting ready for its next launch. And so making sure, again, just like attending lots of meetings, just reviewing a lot of their activities on addressing maybe some concerns, or making sure that, as I said, a list of requirements that they need to meet are actually being met. And so it's a lot of reviewing, a lot of integration, a lot of working or interacting with Boeing engineers and Boeing managers. Also on the NASA side, making sure, again, that everybody agrees with what's being done, and everybody agrees that the contractor, in this case Boeing, is meeting all of those requirements so that then we can launch the next mission. So yes, day to day, it's meeting after meeting after meeting, reviewing lots of documentation, and then going through schedules, and again, making sure that everything aligns. So that's in a nutshell what I do.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing that. And as we were talking, we did receive one of the questions from one of our participants who is watching us today. And the question is, what opportunities do chemical engineers have at NASA? Is there space for chemical engineers at NASA as far as to your knowledge?
Mm-hmm. So I would see it as chemical engineering. So propulsion, we use chemicals, of course. So it's not just mechanical engineering. At NASA, we have all types of engineers, and not just engineers. We have physicists, we have mathematicians, we have every I guess branch within STEM, and not just STEM. Some people think that you need to pursue a STEM career to work at NASA. We have people that we have a legal department, so we need lawyers. We finance, these different careers. For a chemical engineer, I would think that first of all, there's all the propulsion systems within part of the rockets. What we do to part of the life support system, where we also use different fluids and how those fluids interact, removing carbon dioxide, all of those things. So we need to remove carbon dioxide from our vehicles, so that the astronauts can still breathe. Then how do we provide them with whatever supplies they need? So all of that I can see a chemical engineer working on all of that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much for that explanation, Dr. Lopez. We know that just recently, NASA, as mentioned in the introduction, today's introduction, NASA's Office of STEM Engagement just launched the new school year with the Joint Artemis Week through September 18th, with resources and learning opportunities to inspire and engage students of all ages in the future of space exploration. With the Artemis program, NASA will land the first woman and the next man on the moon by 2024, using innovative technologies to explore more of the lunar surface than ever before. Our question to you, Dr. Lopez, is, can you explain to our viewers, especially the younger ones, about the importance of humans returning to the moon and how Artemis 1 will help take humans there?
So there's the importance of going back to the moon. One of the things that we need or that we focus on as we explore is we identify technologies that are required so that we can actually reach those destinations. Many times, those new technologies that we identify as required to make it to those new destinations are actually used also here on Earth, or useful also here on Earth. There's of course one thing that is needed for to be able to reach not just the moon but Mars, and that is to be able to recycle water, to also create oxygen from water, things like that. And one of the main things is recycle water. And so some of those technologies are being tested on the ISS, and the International Space Station. And then some of those technologies have actually are now being used here on Earth. I don't remember the exact town in Mexico. It's actually central Mexico, where some of that same technology is being used to purify water, so that the people in that town have access to clean water. And so there's a lot of things that we learn through exploration that then we can use for the advantage of humankind here on Earth. And so yes, same thing that as we explore the moon and we learn on the moon about the different technologies and all the different things that we need to then use once we reach Mars. The reason we want to go to Mars is because we want to explore, right? And we want to understand what happened on Mars. We have a full map of the entire surface of Mars. We know that there is water. We know that the water is not liquid, but there's also some images that we have of the surface that show that there used to be something flowing, right? So it looked like water used to flow on the surface. And so we just want to explore and understand what happened on Mars, so that maybe we learn something that then we can apply here, so that we can avoid that happening here.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much for that thorough explanation. And just to help put this into a little bit of context, we're going to run a short minute video that kind of lays out what the Artemis program is and the importance of this important mission.
And as we leave the moon, we leave as we came, and God willing, as we shall return.
You probably dreamed of this.
Liftoff on Apollo 11.
You probably replayed this moment 1,000 times.
Four wheels off the ground air.
You probably imagined the awe-inspiring, indescribable rush of the ride. You probably celebrated the miraculous, cheered the momentous, and mourned the shocking. You probably still dream of what could be. We did. We do. And while many thought we were through, no. We've been learning, we've been building, we've been training. And now, it's time. Because the next frontier is not just for the next generation. It's for this generation. It's for me, and it's for you. For everything we still dream about. We go as Artemis.
Wow, that's a great, inspiring video, great motivation for our students who are the younger students who are part of this Artemis generation. So can you tell us a little bit about the phases, Dr. Lopez, about Artemis 1, Artemis 2, and Artemis 3, and how those work in the larger Artemis mission?
Sure. So one thing that I was going to mention, I believe you have a chart on that. It was all of the things that we have completed already to date, so we can get ready for the very first Artemis mission. And so it basically shows the pictures of like the ground. What is it? ground facilities that we have and all the modifications that have been done to it. The very first thing is the launch pad that we used for the space shuttle used to have a permanent structure on it, and it no longer has that permanent structure. Has been removed, and so now all of the structure is on the mobile launcher, and so now it's a clean pad concept that we use. The vehicle assembly building that we use for shuttle has been modified so that we can now assemble the new rocket with Orion. Orion is being built and tested. The SLS, the Space Launch System, is being built and tested. Actually, today's the 15th. A couple of days ago, we just completed the 5th of a series of 8 tests. That's called the Green Run. My brother actually works at Boeing, and he was part of the team that completed that 5th test. And so we are moving along. We are getting close to launching that first mission. You could also share that chart. It would be great, because one of the pictures that I included is one where Orion is being tested at a facility, at the Plumbrook facility in Ohio. And the reason I wanted to share that picture is because that facility is where the very first Avengers movie was filmed. That's where the villain first appears on the Avengers movie. So, and I just wanted people to see that picture. But anyways, that's just one of the interesting facts, I guess, or fun facts about Artemis. So yeah, going to the very first Artemis mission. So the goal here is to launch Orion uncrewed, so no crew. We would first test some of the systems that are required to keep the crew alive, or to keep the crew safe, so they can return to Earth safe. And so we are first going to launch Orion with no crew. It's going to go around the moon, and then it's going to come back, and we're going to test the thermal protection system, making sure that it survives entry through the Earth's atmosphere. Testing some other instrumentation, communications, things like that. We're also going to test the propulsion system. It's going to be Orion is going to be put in a special orbit around the moon. That one of its I guess one of the things that orbit gives you is, once you go into that orbit, it's extremely stable, so you don't need additional propulsion to stay in that orbit. It's called the distant retrograde orbit. And then from there, we're going to come back and then go on to the next mission, which is going to be Artemis 2. Artemis 2 is going to be the first Artemis crewed mission. But this one, we are still not going to go to the surface of the moon. We are going to test the lab support systems within Orion. And the way we're going to test it safely, we're going to keep the mission duration shorter than than the maximum, which is 21 days. And so we're going to keep the Artemis 2 as a shorter mission, make sure that the life support systems work, and then come back. And also another way to keep them safe is we're not going to get Orion into an orbit around the moon. It's just going to do a flyby and come back. And then once we do that, we are ready for Artemis 3, where we would launch the first man and first woman. The return of the man and the first woman that's gonna reach the surface of the moon, using one other vehicle, that's a Gateway, which is going to be a new space station that's going to be placed in an orbit around the moon.
Wow, wonderful! Thank you very much for sharing that. It is a lot of work. There are many people working on this mission, and it's great for our students to, just help them conceptualize what a mission like this looks like, and the different roles and responsibilities different professionals have at NASA, right? We do have a question related to engineers, and I guess certain groups of engineers, or a certain type of engineer at NASA. The question is, what kind of engineers are mostly working at NASA? Is there a specific one that, in one area that has more engineering in a specific trade or profession than they do in other areas?
I'm not sure. I know that there's a lot of aerospace engineers, and there are a lot of mechanical engineers, but we also have chemical, electrical, manufacturing, all of that. So we have all types of engineers. But one of the things that I want to make sure that kids understand is, you don't have to be an engineer to work at NASA. You can go for physics, you can go for chemistry, just you can go for math. And again, I understand that this is STEM, and yes, NASA is known for STEM. But what the advice that I would give anyone out there is follow your call. Whatever excites you, whatever career excites you, follow it. Because if you do that, if that path leads you to NASA, you're gonna truly enjoy what you do every day. I always tell my kids that I don't see it as work. I see it as I go and do something that I really enjoy, and I get paid to do it. So, yeah. And one of the things that I wanted to mention is I don't know if you I mentioned, or I said the word safe many times while I was talking about Artemis 1 and Artemis 2. And you'll see that safety is one of the main things that we always think about here at NASA. I mentioned that I joined the space shuttle program right after the Columbia accident, and my very first task working in the shuttle program was to lead an aerothermal test to figure out if the new configuration of the space shuttle was going to be safe. There was a lot of effort to make sure that the shuttle was safe when we returned to flight, and that was a big part of it. And so now, that's I guess the main priority of everyone that works at NASA in these type of missions is we want to keep our crew safe and make sure that they return to Earth alive, safe. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much. Yeah, valuable advice for our young students. And I do have one more final question for you, Dr. Lopez. If for the students that are interested in pursuing, many do have a love for STEM, and they want to pursue an engineering or mathematical degree or something in that particular field. I guess, what skill sets do you think are essential? What would you recommend them to sharpen as they pursue these careers in STEM professions?
So the one thing that I would say, and I guess I've learned this also because my wife is a teacher, you need to have a very strong foundation in math and science. I know people think that knowing your multiplication tables is not important. It is important. You gotta know those by heart, because if you can multiply, you can divide, and if you can divide and multiply, then you can do everything. If you cannot multiply, then that's it. So yes, make sure that you do that. One of the things that I did when I was in high school, I knew that I wanted to pursue something in science and something math related. And so I just took advantage of everything that was offered to me. And so I took every math class that was offered at my high school, and also pretty much every science that was offered. But I focused on something that was more physics, chemistry related. In math, I went all the way. The highest class or most advanced class they had was calculus, and I made sure that I went all the way to calculus. So yes, if you want to pursue something STEM related, make sure that you take advantage of everything that's offered to you in school.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much for that advice, Dr. Lopez. We do have some challenges or opportunities for our students to participate in Artemis Week. First of all, students, we have two great ways to get involved in this week. First is by participating in the newly released NASA and Future Engineers Artemis Moon Pod Essay Contest. So this contest is open to U.S. students in grades K through 12, which just launched today and runs through December 17th of this year. And we challenge you and participants to imagine leading a one-week expedition to the moon's South Pole. So this is your opportunity to imagine what an expedition looks like, and you write an essay and submit it as an entry into this contest. We also have another opportunity, which is part of your mission today, is to visit this page and to design, build, and launch your own balloon-powered rocket. Make sure that you chronicle your work and you share it on social media using the hashtag NextGenSTEM. So those are your two challenges. Those are some opportunities for you to really embrace being part of this Artemis generation. And we look forward to receiving your work, and we look forward to reading it, and for you to participate in these wonderful learning opportunities. So that's it for us from NASA STEM Stars. From all of us at NASA STEM Stars, I would like to thank our esteemed guest, Dr. Pedro Lopez, for joining us today. Dr. Lopez, it was a sincere pleasure to have you join us on NASA STEM Stars, and we wish you great success in all of your work in the future.
It was a pleasure. Thanks again. And last thing, today we start Hispanic Heritage Month, so I just want to say Feliz Día de la Herencia Hispana, o Mes de la Herencia Hispana.
Así es. Un orgullo de tenerlo aquí, y esperamos un gran éxito de usted y todos los que están representando nuestra comunidad hispana, no nomás en la NASA, pero en todo el mundo, ¿verdad? So thank you very much for all our participants for taking part of your day to listen and to learn a little bit about the wonderful people that make up the diverse community at NASA. So please make sure you click subscribe over on our YouTube channel and never miss an episode. And our next episode is in 2 days with Dr. Eric Smith, who will be talking about the James Webb Telescope, and that will be starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. So from all of us, muchas gracias, thank you very much, and we'll see you on another episode of NASA STEM Stars. Adios.